Good day, everyone. This is Coach Reese coming at you with another great video. I'm hoping all is well with you and your family and that you're enjoying your day. The title of today's video is Qualifications of a Police Officer. Qualifications of a Police Officer. And I feel that this video is very important because some of you young people may have a desire to be a police officer. And I think that that's an excellent career to pursue because being a police officer is a very uh, special thing in a community because you get an opportunity to serve people in a very special way. You have an opportunity to possibly save a person's life. You have an opportunity to possibly, make your community better by doing good police work. You know, and being a police officer is a very honorable position in society because a lot of people look at you as a hero. You know, and that's okay. You know, to be labeled as a hero as a police officer, but the most important thing, young people, is just my humble opinion on it what I'm about ready to say. The most important thing you should focus on is being a police officer is you need to focus on serving the people in your community the right way. So what I'm trying to say is you need to be a person of integrity and you always want to do the right thing every single time. There's no such thing as being a police officer that cheats here or there. To me, I just feel that cheating or doing, wrong or illegal things as a police officer, it will eventually catch up with you. You know, um, you are, as a police officer, you're a very powerful person in the community. Like I say, for the most part, the community has a tremendous respect for you, you know, and it's important, young people, like I say, that you always be a person of integrity as a police officer and in life in general, because when you're a person of integrity as a police officer or in life in general, people have respect for you, you know, and I feel that uh, if you're a person of integrity and you work extremely hard to make the community you serve better, you will be a good applicant for a promotion, you know, and I hope and pray that if you are a person of integrity and hard work and always doing the right thing, I hope and pray that you will become the next police chief of your community. And I think that that's awesome. Okay, young people, I have 2 points that I wanted to talk about before I read my journal, and I'm going to go ahead and get started with that. The first thing that I wanted to say is the first thing that I wanted to talk about is how can you refrain from drawing your weapon when you're on duty? How can you refrain from drawing your weapon when you're on duty? Now, of course, with this point here, you rely on your training that you get in recruit school. When they first hire you from the police department, they will show you how, there's different levels of aggression or whatever. Um, the information that I'm telling you, I learned this from a relative that, they worked in the law enforcement. I believe he worked in the prison system. He's a family member of mine. So if you work in the prison system, you have to go through the recruit training like you're going to work for the police department. But to make a long story short, my cousin told me that there's certain levels of aggression that you have to keep in mind as a police officer. And so, like I say, rely on your training on different ways to refrain from drawing your weapon, and try your best to make absolutely sure that if you do have to draw your weapon, that you, at the very least, try to, uh, capture that individual or suspect alive. You know, now of course I know that um, you may be forced to, draw, fire your weapon or what have you, but when if you decide to do that, young people, make absolutely sure that this is the right decision, because uh, you know once you take a person's life, young people, that that particular person's death will follow you for the rest of your life. you know I was looking at a police officer many years ago during an interview, and he said that he had to uh, kill, I think, one or two people in his career. And in doing that interview, he broke down and started crying because of the pain that he felt in his heart that he had to take a life or a two. And that's very unfortunate. So just keep that in mind, young people, that when you pull the trigger, you can't bring that bullet back. And if you kill a person in the line of duty, that person will not come back, will not be able to come back to their family. And that will be a tremendous loss for their family. And it will, may affect you in a very negative way. So just keep in mind, young people, when you draw your weapon, just be responsible in the decisions that you make when you're out there on the street, serving and protecting the people in your community, okay? The last point I wanted to make is this: how can I how can I make how can I make the community I serve better? How can I make the community I serve better? You know, uh, One of the things you can do to make the the community you serve better is to be a person of integrity. Always strive to do the right thing every time. You know, when you're dealing with the public, when you're dealing with the public, always try to be nice and polite to everyone you encounter. Like I say, most people consider the police department, police officers, to be heroes. So a lot of people automatically going to give you the respect. But when you're nice and polite to people, when you have a genuine love for all people, you know, when you're compassionate for all people, that pays off in the long run, young people, because, you know, I think I've heard this saying, first impression is always a lasting impression. And if you're nice and polite and very compassionate towards everybody that you encounter in the community, you know, that one person that had that one encounter with you may, go on for the rest of their life and say, you know what, I really have a tremendous love for police officers because that one time that I had to deal with a police officer, he or she was very nice and polite and very compassionate towards me, and I appreciate that, and and like I say, young people, you know, um, you have the ability to create positive change in your community because, you have to be uh, in your community all the time, and when you're in your community all the time, you might as well figure out a way to create positive change, you know, and also keep in mind, young people, that if you are police officers, young people are also looking at you. And so if you create that positive image, maybe you can encourage that young person that you mentored or whatever to become a police officer as well. And I think that's awesome. Okay, young people, um, I think I went on and on about talking about police officers. I love police officers very much. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to make this a two-part series, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my 3 points on wisdom. I'm going to talk about my statement dealing with critical thinking. And then I have an ending statement of practice. And so I'm going to go ahead and get started with my 3 points on wisdom. Point number 1, wise people are good listeners. Wise people are good listeners. Point number 2, wise people have the thirst or desire to learn good knowledge and spiritual knowledge. Young people, point number 2 is extremely important. Wise people have the thirst or desire to learn good knowledge and spiritual knowledge. Point number 3, wise people have the courage to teach their wisdom. Wise people have the courage to teach their wisdom. So young people, I encourage you to do your research on the topic of wisdom, and I hope and pray that you all will pursue wisdom with the utmost seriousness. Young people, when you pursue wisdom with the utmost seriousness, it'll be a tremendous benefit and blessing to you in the long run. I have a statement dealing with critical thinking, and it goes like this. Always be a critical thinker, young people, especially when making big decisions. Always be a critical thinker, young people, especially when making big decisions. So young people, I encourage you to talk to your parents about the topic of critical thinking. And your parents will help you navigate the differences between making big decisions and minor decisions. And also, young people, it's very important that you do your research on the topic of critical thinking, because this is just my humble opinion. The sooner you become a critical thinker, the better off you'll be, and it will be a tremendous benefit and blessing to you in the long run. I have an ending statement of practice, and it goes like this. I love you. I want the best for you. I want you to practice using love and wisdom in all that you do. Life is a game that you must learn how to play. Practicing love and wisdom with your family, friends, and loved ones creates a powerful team. Love conquers all, young people, even if you feel defeated. So young people, I encourage you to keep loving. So young people, I encourage you to keep growing and keep loving and keep growing and gaining in wisdom, and God will bless you in a mighty way. I encourage you all to hit the thumbs up on this video. I encourage you all to share this video with family, friends, and loved ones. And I encourage you all to subscribe to my channel. At the end of the day, young people, I want you to accomplish all your goals and dreams in life. And I want you to be the very best person that you can be every day of your life. That is very important that you do that. Okay, young people, I have one more nugget of wisdom before I officially conclude this video. And it goes like this. Don't ever think that you're better than anyone else, but rather, young people, think of yourself as just as good as anyone else. Humility is a vital key to successful life. I hope and pray that you all will apply that nugget of wisdom to your life. Okay, young people, I'm going to officially conclude this video by saying this. May God bless you, and may God keep you until we meet again.